Let's do the question of the week here. This comes from Meg, and Meg lives in London, England. And she said, "Hi, Julie. After reading your angelic attendants, what really happens as we transition from this life into the next book, I have two questions I'd like to ask you, please. Number one, if someone wasn't in contact nor on good terms with a parent, would that parent still show up in the horseshoe formation at the time of death of the son or daughter? Number two, if an accident happens, leaving someone brain dead, but still looked after in hospital with a breathing machine, would that horseshoe formation be present immediately after the fall? Or would all beings wait for the moment the breathing machine would be stopped, i.e., when the official time of death takes place? Many thanks for your clarification on these two queries. Have a great day with White Light, Meg." And here's my response. Hi, Meg. Thanks for reading Angelic Attendants and for your questions. Deceased parents or maternal grandparents are always present when someone is in the dying process, even if they didn't have a good relationship with the person when they were alive. Now, before you get too far with this concept, I hear this all the time. My mom was just awful when she was alive. I don't want her anywhere near me when I'm dying. So I'm going back to Meg and I'm saying, okay, before you get too far with this concept, it's important to remember that all spirits are pure love and negative personality traits stay with the body when somebody dies. That happens with everybody. The worst person you can think of, all the snarky personality trait stays with the body when they die. All spirits are pure love. The whole thing about evil spirits, all made up, not real. Don't need to worry about it. It was made up to control the masses by cultures and religions and governments. Because what's the best way to control people? Fear. We just saw that with the pandemic a couple of years ago. I went on to say, regarding what happens when somebody is, quote, brain dead and on a ventilator or a breathing machine, the 12 phases of transition begin when the person enters the dying process. The 12 phases of transition is how we're surrounded by angels and the spirits of deceased loved ones and pets. And there's a configuration of all of these spirits, and it changes as the person gets closer to death. I call that the 12 phases of transition. So you can go to my website, AskJulieRyan.com, click on the 12 phases of transition button, and there's a chart there that you can download for free, and it will tell you about the phases of transition. I went on to say that's when their spirit exits the body and holds on to the top of the head in a speech bubble configuration. The 12 phases then continue to unfold as the person gets closer to exiting. Phase 12 is when the person's body and spirit separate and angels escort the person's spirit to heaven. It has been my experience in working with thousands of people and their families at the end of life that we all go through the 12 phases of transition. It can happen instantly, like in the case of a homicide or suicide, or it can unfold over days, weeks, months, and has the ability to add a glorious component to what can be a heart-wrenching experience. Hope this answers your questions and comforts you. So thank you, Meg from London, for sending that question and wanting that clarification.